Guys, you know how we look back in 2022 and we say that Russia marching into Ukraine initially just looked like it was Russia and Ukraine, although a lot of people already saying NATO was involved. But when Russia marched into Ukraine for their so-called special military operation, Russia didn't know, Ukraine did not know, and United States didn't know that people would reference that point as the time it became clear that the hegemony of the West was over. I said that to say this. When Hamas conducted that terrible thing that he did in Israel on October 7th. I think it was very terrible for Hamas to do that. But when Hamas conducted that operation in Israel on October 7th, many people didn't know, even myself included, didn't know how that event was going to be an opportunity for certain players to spread and try to get their goal of a greater Israel. Well, it's all looking like that. And I mentioned this because Israel is now, ever since then, Israel has done campaign in Gaza. Israel has done terrible, very terrible military campaign in Gaza. In fact, it's a genocide because even the international court just said, yeah, there is grounds for genocide in this, so they are willing to hear the case. Well, beyond that, Israel has also been engaged in Lebanon and has done really crazy things in Lebanon, but not to the scale it has done in Gaza. And Israel, we have also seen Israel take part of Syria after that, which just happened more recently with the fall of Bashar al-Assad. Now it seems like Israel is taking a foothold in Africa. Yes, Israel is about to set up, there's the talks for Israel to set up a military base in Somaliland. Now, like I mentioned in the last episode where I discussed this briefly, Somaliland is not a country that you will think in many Africans don't even know there's a place called Somaliland. I get it because it doesn't have international recognition yet. But it's not a place that comes to mind. I believe the country is about 6 million or 6.2 million people. It's not a lot. They broke away from Somalia, and ever since they've been doing their own thing in the Horn of Africa. Now, Israel is coming in to say, yes, we want to set up a military base under the guise that they want to use this military base to be able to monitor and counter, what's the name of these people? The Houthis in Yemen. They want to use the military base in Somaliland to get that done. Now, I'm mentioning this because I want us to see many times in Africa, we tend to focus ourselves on just what is happening. The Africans even decide to follow the news. They usually focus it on just what is happening in my country. What is happening in your country is really important. But on many occasions, what is happening in your country is as a result of what is happening everywhere around the world, which is why I think geopolitics from an African perspective is one of the most important things we can do, we can follow in Africa. Well, for the military base being set up in Somaliland, because Somaliland is not internationally recognized, as I mentioned. Because it's not internationally recognized, they don't have access to loans like the IMF and the World Bank. Me, I think it's a good thing that they don't have access to the IMF and the World Bank because the IMF and the World Bank doesn't work to help the regions where they operate in. Instead, it works to break the financial back. If you don't believe me, look at Nigeria today, look at Kenya today, look at Egypt today, look at Argentina today. We can go on and on. Look at Greece. Romania, look at Romania today. So we can go on and on and on. Well, that's what, because they're not internationally recognized, they don't have that. So Israel, in return for the military base it wants to set up in Somaliland, is also going to give the country access to funds. And there is talks that Israel is going to recognize Somaliland. Of course, they're going to recognize it so that they can have their military base there. But that's not just it. United States, I saw a report some weeks ago, maybe like a week or 2 weeks ago, that the United States intends to recognize Somaliland. So with the recognition of Somaliland by United States, it's going to push Somaliland's reputation, right? Not really reputation, but standing in the global community. It's going to push that for the country of Somaliland. And then they can probably have access to loans from these crony systems like the IMF and the World Bank. But one interesting aspect of this news that I want to mention is that this military base in Somaliland is going to be funded, whether in part or in whole, by the United Arab Emirates. I see, I told you, everything is connected. Don't think that your country or Africa exists in a vacuum. It does not. How is US sorry, how is the UAE? How is their so-called interest align? How does it align with the interest of Israel? Well, in this instance it does. You would think that if Israel wants a military base, Israel is going to fund its military base. The way America funds its military bases, Russia funds its military bases, even the Chinese military base is funded by China. But Israel's military base that is funded whether in whole or in part by the United Arab Emirates, the same UAE that is setting Sudan on fire. The same UAE that is setting Sudan on fire. Last week, when I had I had the last episode of the show last week, I played the video for you. If you've not watched the video, if you want to see the video, just go back to my um video where I spoke about the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad of Syria. Well, I played the video for you right here on the show, and in the video, an American official was saying that over the next 5 years, they were going to overthrow seven governments. The seven governments: Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, and Iran. Out of these seven, six of them have been beaten to the ground by the same United States. In 1996, Benjamin Netanyahu, the current Prime Minister of Israel, wrote a book, and the book is about terrorism. And this book that he wrote about terrorism, he was saying they need to overthrow governments of these same countries so that they can reshape the Middle East and fight terrorism. Just in front of us, Israel is reshaping the Middle East. I don't want to come to say whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Right, that is not what the conversation is about today. But the conversation is about many times we are so engrossed in what is happening right in front of us, that is with our country or maybe our respective countries or even maybe our state or our community, which is good. But it's also important to have a big picture. It's important to take a step back and look at things with a clear bird eye view. Then you realize that everything is interconnected. Sudan is on fire today as a completely failed state. Somalia, which is where this Somaliland broke out of, Somalia is a completely failed state because outsiders came in. Outsiders got involved in domestic affairs and set the respective countries on fire. Look at Libya. It's the same story we are seeing all around the world. So if you think that UAE and Israel, they're different countries working for different things, I want you to look and see that in Africa, at least based on the evidence that we can compile in Africa, the UAE and Israel are working hand in hand to pursue whatever goals that they have. Now, this military base in Somaliland is going to affect Africa because everywhere we have seen military bases, we have seen rise in terrorism. Military bases did not fix the terrorism. In fact, there's argument to say it made it worse. But beyond that, I also want to highlight that this military base now in Somaliland, if Israel successfully puts it there, is going to affect Egypt. Remember that Egypt was to the best of my knowledge, if I'm not mistaken, but please correct me, Egypt was the first so-called Arab state to recognize the state of Israel. UAE just did it in 2020. Just 2020 with Donald Trump's Abraham Accords, the same period as Sudan came. Sudan even signed up to the Abraham Accords because Sudan was broke. I was listening to an interview by the founder of Africa Streams, and he said when he spoke with one economic minister like that, an official of Sudan, in Sudan rather, when he spoke to the person said it point and clear. He said it that the reason that in Sudan recognized the state of Israel and got relations with Israel is because they were looking for money. They were broke. That's it. If there's any reason why Somaliland, which is part of Somalia, so Somaliland should understand its history with in foreign intervention. With these same people who are coming to set up military base in its country, Somaliland should know its history because it was part of Somalia. Right? It was part of Somalia when the bombs began to drop over 30 years ago, before I was born, when the bombs began to drop in Somalia, when Somaliland was still a part of it. When those bombs began to drop, it knew who was funding those bombs. And those people are coming now to set up military base in the country. Why would it now be that if to say yes? Because Somaliland is broke. It doesn't have money. It doesn't have money. That is why everywhere you see all these military bases taking up, being set up, it always comes with money. I've said it before. I'm saying it again. Which is another aspect to all this military base and everything. I've said it before. I'm saying it again. That coming out of poverty is existential for Africa. Because if not the fact that our leaders now Africa in itself it's not poor, but things have been so done at the detriment of the continent and the respective countries that even Biden's $1 billion humanitarian aid dangled in Angola is looking like wow, such a big deal, right? So that's by the way. Back to Egypt and the face of the region if Israel sets up their military base. Remember that Turkey and Ethiopia and well Turkey just oversaw let's say the peace between Ethiopia and Somalia last week or almost 2 weeks now. It's not up to 2 weeks, but very recently, Turkey just saw that. Now, this also is going to look as if it's about to put although I don't trust Erdogan of Turkey, but whatever. This now, Israel coming up with its military base here, is going to clearly put a hindrance in this whole thing. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that Africa is looking like a in the game of geopolitics, the 3D chess, maybe it's even 5D chess of geopolitics. Africa is looking like a pawn on the chessboard. That people and different countries are moving in the area they see fit. I am proposing that Africa should no longer be a pawn on the chessboard, that anybody can move in any direction it sees fit. I'm saying that Africa should become one of the players of this game of geopolitics. If our leaders are maybe too scared to take on an uncertain role, like a dominant role in the game. Maybe they are too scared. I think that the people can move in that direction. When the people move, the leaders will follow. Because right now, many African leaders, except a few, many African leaders just seem like tools in somebody's geopolitics game. See Tinubu in Nigeria, see Ruto in Kenya. I'm mentioning these two because in my life, I have never seen leaders that so openly work to the disadvantage of their countries for outside gain or for the advantage of outsiders like Ruto and Tinubu. I've not seen. They make it so blatantly open that they are puppets. Before when someone is a puppet, at least the kind of puppets we've been seeing in even in Nigeria now, I think Buhari to a certain degree was influenced by the West. But even Buhari had a level of autonomy that certain things that the West may want to do would blatantly just say no. But Tinubu is like so clear, so open, so clear that he's working for the interest of outsiders, not for the interest of Nigeria. So that's my submission. That's my submission. Israel is like very likely because anything Israel wants, Israel tends to get. Anything Netanyahu wants, let me rephrase that. Anything Netanyahu wants, Netanyahu tends to get. What can I say? Maybe he's really a master in this game of geopolitics. So Israel is about to have a military base in Somaliland, funded by the UAE, whether in part or in whole, I don't know, but funded to a certain degree by the UAE. This could work to the disadvantage of the people of Somaliland. But let me know what you think about this development in the comment section below. And are there any aspects of this whole these moves that I have not seen yet? Please, if you have any more information, please share it in the comment section below because this is one topic I want to follow closely. Let me know what you think about everything in the comment section below. As usual, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with everybody. I want the world to know that Somaliland may be recognized by the United States because Israel needs its military base in the Horn of Africa. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And as always, if you want to support the work that I'm doing on this channel, please use the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, and it's also on the screen. Thank you.